and welcoming to the studio Justin Smith. Kia ora, good morning.
Te Māori, Andrew.
Do you get bullied at school about your name? Probably not. Justin Smith. It's
No,
pretty on
Jay
the level.
Smith. Yeah, it's one of the most common names in the world. I think we've spoken about that before.
You've got a big tribe behind you. If you mess with the Smiths, come on. You've got the
totally.
numbers, eh?
Jay Smith's, there's a number of scary profile pictures I can point to.
Exactly. Hey, sorry if this is a rude question. What was the last thing you bought online?
Oh, great question. What was the last thing I bought online? It was nothing exciting, just some stuff here for the office, set of headphones and a replacement pair of speakers.
Just sort of techie stuff, which comes as no surprise to anyone.
Technology stuff from a local reputable supplier.
You're not pushing the stereotype at all. You know, exactly. Just about any time I go online, whatever the website it is, in fact, one of the websites I use regularly is Bible Gateway. It's a great way of looking up scripture and everything. I can't get to the Bible because of all the pop-up ads for Temu.
Yeah.
Honestly. And, you know, I don't buy stuff online regularly. In fact, I couldn't tell you the last thing that I bought online because it was too long ago. It's not my vibe, you know, different generation.
Yeah, right.
However, it's pretty tempting. There's some cool gadgets on Temu, and they are so cheap.
Yeah,
it's man, my goodness, how do they do that?
Well, how do they do it? Unfortunately, the reality is with an incredibly poor, environmental, humane sort of record in terms of the supply chain is how they do it.
Slave labor and trashing the environment, essentially, and then they pass the savings on to us. Yeah,
exactly. It's truly exactly how it is. But that's gone hand in hand with a few things. Temu specifically really leaned into the whole marketing. So the idea, that, as you pointed out, seeing ads for them absolutely everywhere. They're so pervasive and really hard to avoid. And then the other one is once they sort of captivate and capture people's attention on the platform, is gamifying the idea of purchasing on Temu. That goes hand in hand with the incredible prices with which they offer products.
This is a bit of loss leading, and I've heard a couple of rumours about this one. Now, Chinese government may be behind this, say some. Is this an attempt to push back against Jeff Bezos and his domination of purchasing online, or even pick a fight with Alibaba or AliExpress, as it's now known.
AliExpress, Wish, there's
all of those type of things. Is it that they're saying, you know what, we can take a hit on this one. We've got one of the largest populations in the world. We're just going to keep stacking them high and selling them cheap until we drive these other companies to the wall. Is that the strategy?
And it's, potentially. I won't say that's necessarily the strategy, but it is absolutely, when you look at what's happening, you go, just how and why? And so naturally, that's potentially one of the outcomes. You go, is this why? Yes. Yep. It's not just pushing people to the wall, though. It's 100% just that race to the bottom of the barrel.
Wow.
And but before working in media here, I come from the world of e-commerce at both ends of the scale, both in fast fashion, discount, bottom of the barrel e-commerce.
Oh, how dare you. Hope you've repented.
I did. In fact, after some time, I went and worked for the only fashion, at the time, the first and only fashion company in the world to be recognized by the United Nations for sustainability. And so the complete other end of the spectrum.
Man, that's a redemption arc, I tell you.
It was good.
Yeah.
And that was right before here. But I've seen both ends of it. And that race to the bottom of the barrel is incredibly hyper-competitive, very pervasive. And unfortunately, the end outcome is almost always negative, negative across the board.
Now, we've seen this particularly in the States where actually the malls are no longer viable because of all the online retailing. And honestly, it is coming here. But not only that, it's not just the malls that are under threat. Temu may be killing online retailing in New Zealand as well, that other retailers can't get the same product to us for the same money at the same time, that it comes quicker through Temu than it does through a online retailer that we're in the same community as, and it costs less.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird and it's really strange. And unfortunately, those savings are coming because right up at the top of the supply chain is where they're just hacking all those costs so that they can funnel all the way down. And effectively, once you distill down the entirety of purchasing online and why you even do it in the first place compared to getting in your car, getting dressed, going out in this terrible weather, going to your local retailer at a time that they are open, not necessarily at a time that suits you, and then going through a process of browsing. They might not have the stock on hand, finding the item that you think you want, but actually they don't have on hand, it exists somewhere else. It is a total palaver. And so when you purchase online for things that are just as easy to buy online as they are in store, you opt for the convenience of buying online. And Temu especially has just nailed that, convenience factor.
And hey, also, we're in tough economic times at the moment. If I can buy something cheaper online that I think I need, that's another issue. We may get to that another day. That I think I need, then I have more monies to buy food for my family.
Correct.
Then there's a lot of pressure to do that.
Yeah, 100%, and that's just a commonality in times like the current economic times that we're in. I mean, a lot of families, and this I'm not excused from this at all. It's like idealistically, I would love to buy nothing but free-range chicken, for example, organic vegetables. But when things are tough, actually, you start having to make sacrifices on your values and ideals.
In some ways, it's a middle-class luxury.
Yeah, totally.
If you've got food, you've got places to stay, if you've got all that type of stuff. But let's tighten the screws a little bit, because I know this is something you're passionate about. If somebody is spending their money on Temu, it's not that they're just getting a cheap deal. There is somebody else who is paying the price for this. It may be somebody working in slave labor conditions in a factory in China, possibly against their wishes. It may be the cost to the environment and, even just the packaging. Again, that's probably a topic for another time, but there is a cost to this.
Yes.
And by making those online purchasing decisions, you're making other choices which are unethical in some ways.
Oh, and the degree to which people don't actually necessarily realize. Like I mentioned before, I've had the opportunity of working in these spaces and have seen behind the curtain, and it is incredibly heartbreaking, and is the only reason why to this day I still have refused and been able to draw a line where I haven't actually transacted and engaged with Temu, because I know what happens on the other side. Let me paint a picture for you, right? And this is a great way to sort of understand it, and it's something I was taught in the last place that I worked at. If you had, say, 3 milk cartons in front of you, right? They're all a litre each, and you only have 1 litre of water to distribute across those 3. Now, those 3 cartons represent your environmental, sustainability, your social responsibility and the people who are involved in it, and then the business sustainability, which is the price of the goods. Now, what's happening with the likes of Temu is we're taking that entire carton of whatever and pouring it purely into the business carton. So we're getting things incredibly cheap. Unfortunately, the environmental and the people containers are completely empty. And Temu is just so heavily biased in that way, unlike every other operation which tries to get a balance of environmental, social, impact, and then its own business sustainability and its ability to provide a decent service.
And they're taking the money that you give them and they're using it to advertise more and get more people hooked, and so it continues. I mean,
correct.
This is a tough one. But final call, if there's somebody listening to this at the moment who, this is a light bulb moment, they're going, gosh, I had no idea. I buy stuff from them all the time because it saves money and I'm always looking for a bargain. What would you say to that person listening at the moment to encourage them to stop and to make different choices?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, how's this? From the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Our calling, we are all the same people.
Yeah.
And our duty of care isn't just to the person that lives in our own home or next door. It's also to the people that are around the other side of the globe.
Who is my neighbor?
If you have children, there is someone else's child on the other side of the world who is working to make that thing and dying to make that thing available for you. There is people's grandparents, aunts, uncles. There is humans on the other end of the thing that you are paying $0 for. And the unfortunate reality is that it's out of sight and out of mind. So the next time you see something on Temu, I want you to picture the hands that made it, because those people are paying the price of our convenience.
Just wanting to say, small disclaimer, Temu's an easy target, and they're probably the worst of the worst.
Yes.
That's not to say that everybody else is squeaky clean in the online market, but make informed and prayerful decisions however you spend the money, and particularly online. Justin, thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Anytime.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.